We will now call our board briefings to order. I'd like to say good evening to each and every one of you, and thank you for coming out to our board meetings. And at this time, we ask Mr. Superintendent if we have any comments for a presentation. Okay. Next, we will review the agenda items to give board members an opportunity to ask questions or to make comments. We will need an executive session, Mr. Superintendent. Property, safety. All right, thank you, sir. We go down to the agenda. Item number 1, minutes. Are there any questions or comments about our minutes? None. Item number 2. Are there any questions about item number 2? Consideration of recommendation for employment. Hearing none. Item number 3, consideration of recommendation for release of employment, release of personnel, excuse me. 4, consideration of recommendation to approve from the Building and Grounds Committee A, Rekeying Project Phase 1 Award, Bid Award. 4B, HVAC upgrades for Phase 1 Bid Award.
Mr. Chair.
Yes, sir, Mr. Superintendent.
After conferring with members of the Building and Grounds Committee, we're going to pull that agenda item for this meeting and do some additional research on that,
All right,
and bring it
B.
back at a future date.
All right, we're gonna pull B. All right, thank you. All right. 4C Academy Greenhouse Project Change Order Number 1. Are there any questions? 4D, door video access intercom system at various sites. Proposed awards. Any questions? Okay. 4E, SGRAC HVAC Replacement Proposal Award. Are there any questions? Item number 5, consideration of recommendation to approve MOU for Southwest Georgia Learning Resource System. Are there any questions, comments? Hearing none, we go to 6, consideration. Was there a
Mr.
question?
Chair,
Yes, Ms. Stroker.
well, not really a question, but in reading through that, I just, could I get just a brief synopsis on exactly what that is, just in layman's terms, Mr. Dyer?
Which item is that, Ms. Strother?
Number 5.
Okay, number 5.
Oh, I'm sorry, no, I jumped ahead. Number 6 is the one that I want, just the
6.
one with Colquitt County, Miller County.
Okay, consideration recommendation to approve Workforce Innovation and Opportunity Act contract.
That one, yes, sir.
Okay, 6, Mr. Superintendent.
Yes, sir, Mr. Chair, Ms. Strother. That's a renewal of a contract that we've had for several years. There's a Workforce Investment Opportunity Act that provides funding for students to get work-based learning opportunity. They call it youth training programs. And the fiduciary for that is the city of Colquitt. And what they do is they contract with school systems throughout Southwest Georgia, and they provide funding for a program coordinator as well as for wages for students who participate with certain employers. And this is a renewal of that grant.
Got it. Thank you very much.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Are there any other questions, board members? All right, we will move on to item number 7, consideration of recommendation to approve warehouse restock of custodial supplies. Are there any questions?
Mr. Chairman,
Yes. Ms. Heath?
is this just for a year, or how long are these supplies
Yeah,
supposed to last?
typically we do it for a year, 6 months to a year. I gotta see which one this is. I think it's the year, the annual contract. We renew it every year. Where we actually go out to bid and take bids every year.
Are there further questions? Okay, we'll move to item number 8. Consideration of recommendation to approve consent items, fundraising requests, out-of-state field trips. Are there any questions?
Verify.
Okay.
This is a 6-month award. We'll come back in January with another bid. And we do that because sometimes prices change and you get better pricing mid-year versus doing the whole year.
Okay,
Yes, ma'am.
good deal.
Thank you, Ms. Superintendent. Number 9, financial reports. Any question? 10, committee reports. Are there any committee reports? Item number 11, board item discussion. And since we hear none, we will move to the superintendent's report.
Got one item I would like to discuss, kind of out of order.
Okay,
Addendum that we added to we sent email to the board members earlier.
all right, sir.
That's about our millage rate for this year. We received our tax digest and 5-year history of levy from the tax department today.
Okay,
So what we decided to do was present it to the board today if we could, because you could adopt the millage rate. We could go ahead and advertise the 5-year tax digest history as required by state law. We don't have any hearings associated with it because we're decreasing the millage rate. Actually, we're lowering it by almost 2%. But we want to go ahead and advertise that to the public if at all possible. What we're recommending is reducing our millage rate from 18.154 mil to 18.096 mil. And over the course of 5 years, you'll see that we reduced our millage rate for the last 5 years, and the other year we maintained the same millage rate. So again, that's testament to the board's stewardship and ability to keep taxes the same or lower, while still meeting the needs of the students that we've been interested with serving.
thank you, Mr. Superintendent. So we
Okay.
just adopt this in our regular, or do we have to be
Yes,
adopted
yes.
separately?
Yes, sir. It'll be if the board chooses, it'll be up for adoption as an item 11B as part of the outside of the consent agenda.
11B.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes, Mr. Reverend Bush?
Mr. Chairman, I just want to invoke this statement here that this is a testament to the stewardship of the Mr. Dye and his staff, especially the finance people, and they have just really they've done a good job, very efficient job, and they are really good caretakers of the taxpayers' dollars. And every time you go into some of these areas, they want 2 more cars. They want, and you got to raise, money to pay for them and all of that. And this is just real good. I just want to thank Mr. Dye and thank the board for their endeavor.
All right, thank you, Reverend Bush.
I'd like to ditto those comments as well. I'm
Okay,
very
Ms. Hadley.
proud of it.
Okay, are there
was
any other
just-
comments?
No, I was just happy to concur. I feel exactly the same way as Reverend Bush. And thanks to Mr. Dyer and other members of his team and to the members of the board.
All right, thank you,
It's
Ms.
a big
Hadley.
deal.
This time, we will hear our superintendent's report. Mr. Dyer?
superintendent's report for July 14th, 2022. We'll start with our COVID-19 data. Okay, we'll start with I was too far away from it. COVID-19 data. We'll do our post-pandemic reset, some data for that. Then we'll look at our some announcements and dates to remember, and then executive session, if that's okay with the board. Our COVID-19 vaccination update for Dougherty County. It's ages 5 to 19, 15.8% have been vaccinated with at least one dose, as of 0.1% percentage point from the last meeting. The age 10 to 14 is the same; it has not changed. Ages 15 to 19 have gone up 0.2% percentage points rather since the last meeting. Total have for one dose has remained the same. Total for two doses gone up 1 percentage point. Again, not overwhelming increases, but still showing slight increases over the last meeting. And as cases continue to rise with the new variant, we think that as school comes back and with vaccinations being approved for the lower age groups, I think we'll see an increase in these numbers at our next meeting. We're hopeful for that. Going on a post-pandemic reset. We've been talking about the pandemic for quite some time. We've been dealing with it for 3 school years, and we will be dealing with the effects of it for quite some time. And I know we've been talking about this since 2020, and we've been looking at data associated with the impact of the pandemic, and we continue to look at that, and we'll look at that again today, and also talk about some of the things we have in place that we are doing and that we plan to do to address the implications associated with COVID-19 pandemic. As you can see here, posted pandemic data suggests, this is nationwide data, that our students are 10 points behind their typical growth in math and 9 points behind in reading. You recall that our retreat, at the board retreat, we presented information that was presented by Dr. Daggett. McKinsey and Company presented data that showed that students were significantly behind typical growth after the pandemic, the first year after the pandemic, and we anticipate that being the case this year. We did not, this was not new to us. We anticipated this, and we talked about this when the pandemic hit, switching to virtual learning as well as we tried to prepare, and we provided devices for students, we provided hotspots for those that didn't have internet at home. Just something missing with virtual learning, particularly with lower age groups. So we anticipated a decline in student achievement and academic growth, and we're prepared to address that. And we'll talk about those plans we have later in this presentation. Also, as presented by Bill Daggett, this also was presented by McKinsey and Company. You look at the physical and manual skills that he talked about, basic cognitive skills, but most of the skill sets that we need moving into the new economy will be your higher cognitive skills, social and emotional skills, or your soft skills, and then your technological skills. And the question is, are we preparing our students by training them for these skills, preparing them with, equipping them with these skills as they matriculate through our schools? And do our tests that we have, that we offer, the standardized tests, do they capture the ability to master those skill sets? And the response to most folks is no. And so are we preparing our students for a 21st century economy? And in a lot of cases, that's no. We are making that shift, and we'll talk about how we're doing that moving forward. That was the academic impact of the pandemic, and this is a summary of the impact regarding students being disengaged. If you look in Georgia, 16.7% of African American youth are disconnected, 11.3% of Latino, and 10.5% of white. This is pre-pandemic data. And post-pandemic data suggests that these numbers have increased significantly. Disconnected youth by location. If you look at rural areas is significantly higher than some other areas, 17.3% in rural areas as compared to 11.2% in urban areas, urban centers, and a little less than 10% in the suburbs. And I quite don't know what Albany is classified as rural. We're not urban. I think we'll be in the small city town category, medium city category, so we're looking at that. But we have seen quite a bit of absenteeism at our school, particularly our high school. And that's not something that's unique to Dougherty County. Speaking with principals and superintendents, we just left the Georgia Association of Education Leaders Conference, and that was a topic of discussion in many other circles I was participating in, how to get students re-engaged, how to get them to attend. In a lot of cases, families were impacted financially by the pandemic, and students of high school age began to work, and they haven't stopped. And although the education prepared them for their future, a lot of our students are trying to get through the present. And so we have some challenges associated with that, and we have some ideas about how to impact that moving forward. But these are things that are problems, challenges that existed prior to the pandemic, but they have been exacerbated because of the pandemic. Post-pandemic data again suggests 12% increase in chronic absenteeism in grades 8 through 12. This is nationwide data. We'll share our data at a future meeting. 617 to 1.2 million 8th to 12th graders could drop out. That's based on projections due to chronic absenteeism. As you know, attendance in school and engagement is critical to continue enrollment. When they become disengaged, and they absent and disengaged, they're more likely to drop out. And so the problem that we're seeing, the challenge that we're seeing with absenteeism now could very well translate to dropouts later. And we're trying to make sure we impact the absenteeism challenge so that we won't have a dropout challenge, and then a challenge with people being able to make a living and provide for themselves and their families in the future. So this came from McKinsey and Company as well. Also, a survey of parents, 35% are either very concerned or extremely concerned about their child's mental health. 5%, we see the 5% increase in clinical anxiety and a 6% increase in clinical depression among our youth. That's nationwide. And we've seen that here as well. As you know, we provide several wraparound services, and we have clinics in our schools. We have the 4 school-based medical health clinics, the 2 school-based dental clinics, the school-based vision clinic, and a school-based behavioral health center. We also contract with Aspire Behavioral Health, and we have used Albany area primary health care to provide behavioral health services outside of the school environment. And we've seen an increase in those requests, just like it suggests in this graph. So much so that we think we currently next year we're going to see an increased demand, such that our current capacity will be overwhelmed. So we're going to look at providing some supplemental services for our students, because as you know, we've talked several times about Maslow's hierarchical needs theory that we learned in Psychology 101. If your basic needs are not met, then you're not going to focus on your higher order needs. If a child doesn't feel safe, if they're not mentally prepared, or they don't feel like their emotional needs are being met, they're not going to focus on classwork. So we need to take care of those things, those non-academic needs that, if they're not met, can serve as barriers to learning. So we're focused on that as well. And all that, all those challenges, and you see, is a June 10th article that says that 2.6 million U.S. educators and staff quit public K-12 and higher education jobs during the pandemic. The needs are greater in number and in intensity, and there are fewer people to meet those needs. The pipeline of teachers, as we talked about for months, is not as robust as it once was. The pipeline of bus drivers, school nutrition workers, other staff, professional staff, non-professional staff, is not as robust as it once was. So as the needs increase, the talent pool is shrinking, and so we have to come up with ways to meet the needs of our students because the needs can't go unmet. So that's the challenge that we have before us as educators throughout the country, in the state of Georgia, and particularly here in Dougherty County. Say all that to say is good news is that our strategic plan, as our board has so thoughtfully put together and gave input to, along with our partners in the community and of course our employees in the school system, put together a strategic plan that's we call our way forward. And we're committed to renewing our commitment and re-engaging with our partners with rigor, relevance, relationships, and resilience as the foundation of our plan. You know, our priority areas are early literacy, academic rigor and relevance, social and emotional wellness, our investment in human capital, and our family and community engagement. Of course, our mission and vision, I'm not going to read these up, but these will be available for public viewing. I included it in the presentation so they don't want to look at it after the meeting, be able to look at it online. But our early literacy, as we stated before, data suggests that the greatest predictor of success for students in K through 12 is their ability to read on grade level by grade 3. Those who are able to read on grade level by grade 3 are 40% more likely to graduate on time. So this is a critical area in our academic preparation of our students. And traditionally, students who have households that struggle financially, economically, are not quite there in terms of their academic readiness and literacy levels. So we understand that. We're not taking that as an excuse. We're taking that as a challenge, and we're going to meet that head on. And as you know, the board approved the HMH suite of projects, which includes Read 180, System 44, mirror all of which are evidence-based interventions. We also have our Read to Succeed program, where we're not only providing reading intervention to students, 2-hour literacy block in grades 1 through 2, 90-minute literacy block in grades 3 through 5, but also provides training to teachers, professional development teachers, on how to teach reading. As you know, most teacher prep programs don't teach the art of teaching reading, and so we're doing that with our teachers right now. We're seeing tremendous growth in our lexicons with our young people. Next, are academic rigor and relevance for all students. As we talked about earlier, the information from Bill Dougherty and McKinsey and Company suggests that we may not be providing students with the type of, as a whole, education might not be providing students as a whole with the skills they need to be successful in the new economy. And so we look at rigor, academic rigor, of course, for our students, but also relevance. So the skill sets that they're learning in school will translate to success when they graduate from high school. Of course, our Race to Learn, our accelerated learning, and our high dosage tutoring that we began this year and will continue next year are going to help address those gaps of that unfinished learning, as we call it, as a result of COVID. But also, that deals with the rigor piece, but the relevance piece with the robotics, our NOCO codes, our construction academy, which is going on right now, having industry recognized, our students earn industry recognized credentials as they go through the CCA pathways, work-based learning opportunities, which will be enhanced with our grant we got from Georgia Power, and our Connected to Careers, which is another graduation pathway for students who know they are not going, feel they're not going to a 4-year traditional college, but want to get trained and go into the world of work immediately after high school. They'll be able to graduate with the course work they need in high school, and also the work they need at the college level, at technical college, to get 2 technical college certificates or 1 technical college diploma, earn a high school diploma, and be able to go into the market with the skill sets they need and the credentials they need to be employable. So that's our rigor and relevance piece in the summer. social and emotional wellness for our students. Um, we conduct surveys through our Panorama platform. We've instituted restorative practices at many of our schools, and the board approved that toward the end of last year to continue that this year. Last year, we started a student advisory council, and I met with students, 10 students from each high school, and to find out what the student experience was like in the Dougherty County school system. And I got a lot of information that we can use, that we did use last year, we'll continue to use. We're going to continue that, and we're going to expand it to middle school students this year. And then the early warning system. We talked about the chronic absenteeism problem that's facing the country, and we're not immune to that. We are developing an early warning system that identifies certain metrics, certain items that we see as common threads with students who drop out. And when we see those items get into a certain level with certain students, this system will flag those students so we can intervene before it becomes a chronic issue. We've been working on that for the last year. We anticipate having that live this year. Investment in human capital. Jim Collins says people are not your organization's greatest asset. The right people are. And I tend to agree with that. We have to have the right people in the right places to meet the needs of our students. And so we're committed to doing that. And as you saw in the previous slide, 2.6 million people, educators and staff left higher ed and public K through 12 during the pandemic. That's a lot. The pipeline is not that, does not have 2.6 million people in it to replace them, quite frankly. And there's a challenge. The challenge is really geographical. You may have enough teachers in the country to meet the needs of students, but they're not all where they need to be. Some places in rural Georgia can't find teachers for critical positions, and we have a challenge here. In more your metro areas where there's a large concentration of people, they have fewer challenges with being able to find the folks, but the competition is so great, they go from school system to school system every year, so keeping that continuity is difficult. So, of course, this board has already looked at ways to combat that. Saw this coming years ago, and so with our classified employees and certified employees, we've increased pay. Our teachers beginning pay now is $43,000 base, and for the next couple of years it'll be at least $47,500 with the recruitment and retention incentives. For our public school employees who don't get teacher retirement, we've increased their pay, our custodial pay, and also increased the contribution that we make to their 403 supplemental retirement plan. Of course, the recruitment and retention incentives help as well. But we also, doing some research, realize that pay is not the only thing that makes teachers and the other employees want to remain. They want to know that there's a professional growth pathway for them. So we do customized professional development, and we just introduced, the board approved our most recent professional development platform, Mobile Mind. We put digital professional development modules. Employees can earn micro credentials and badges to show what they've been trained in. So when they they apply for certain jobs, they can show that they have been trained in those particular areas. Alternate sourcing. We've been doing for quite some time live stream instruction, because sometimes although teachers are available, they're not available here. And so we stream in live stream instruction into our classrooms. Just last year, the board approved during the budget a full-time recruiter for HR. Time is gone to have a recruitment fair in the spring and think you're going to fill all your teacher needs. Recruitment is going to be a full-time job year-round to identify teachers, recruit teachers for these hard-to-fill positions. And we're going to start a teacher advisory council. You need to make. We need to have a place where people want to come to work. The environments where people want to come to work and remain. And so, just like I did with the students, I'm going to meet with our teachers, and our teacher advisory council we made up of the teachers of the year from our various schools. We want to ask them what would make working here better, and we're going to take that information and we're going to use it to make it a better place. I think it's already a great environment. I think people like to be here, but we can always improve, and without improving, that means we're standing still. Everybody else is improving, that means we're losing ground. We want to stay on the leading edge of what it takes to make this a destination school system for the greatest educators in the state of Georgia, and that's our goal. Family community engagement. We say all the time it takes a village to raise a child. I know that's cliches, but we really believe that. We have tremendous support from our community partners, and we want to continue to do that. Our Family Resource and Support Center on Pine provides resume writing, provides child care services, provides resources like Albany Area Primary Health Care. Our FEMA Network of Trust has offices there, and they serve as resources for parents who have various needs. Also, our grant with Georgia Power will help us to invest in our upskilling and reskilling of our parents who are looking for a career change. A lot of our parents go to work every day, working hard in jobs that don't provide a living wage and benefits because they don't have a skill set to command that. Our upskilling and reskilling of parents initiative is going to provide them with training during non-regular hours, because a lot of them can't get off work to go to school. So we have evening and weekend opportunities through Albany Tech and other job training services to provide them with the training they need to acquire the skills they need to command higher paying jobs. And we're also going to combine this with job fairs and resume writing skills training and interview skills training, so that when they get those credentials, they'll be prepared to present themselves in the best manner possible to make themselves marketable for jobs that pay a living wage and provide ample benefits. And this, quite frankly, can change the trajectory of a lot of households in Dougherty County and make an immediate impact on the families that we serve, and quite frankly reduce some of the non-academic barriers that we discussed earlier that cause absenteeism and disengagement. And so we're excited about this opportunity. We certainly thank Albany Tech for its partnership and Georgia Power for its investment in this initiative. All those strategies, all those initiatives, I think they're on the right track, and they certainly address the post-pandemic reset that we discussed in the earlier slides. But one thing that we need to understand as an organization that's the largest school system south of Macon and Columbus, the culture eats strategy for breakfast, as Dr. Peter Drucker reminds us all the time. So the strategies that we have, that we discuss, are important, but the fact that we need to have conversations with our students, with our teachers and other employees in our community to find out what the culture is like is just as important as those technical strategies, because if the technical strategies are spot on, but the culture of the organization is not such that we can work together to get that done, the strategies might as well not exist. So we're working on both. Now, I don't think we have a problem. I think it's good here, but we always need to get better, and that's what we're committed to doing. And so we're going to continue those advisory council meetings and engaging with our partners in the community to not only the culture in the school system, but also in the community as well is important. And so we'll focus on those things. And as we do that, then I do believe that our way forward will be a positive direction, and we'll see the results that we hope to see and plan to see in the school system and in Southwest Georgia. I've said before, I've said many times, Albany is the biggest thing in Southwest Georgia. And as goes Albany, so goes Southwest Georgia. And so we're in it, and as goes the school system, so goes Albany and Dougherty County.
Amen.
So we understand our challenge, and we look forward to making a difference, continue to make a difference in the lives of the students that we've been called to serve and making an impact on our community. Sorry for that pretty long report, longer than usual, but we wanted to make sure we said a few things. And right now, before we move to upcoming events, do you have any questions about anything I've mentioned, Mr. Chair?
I don't. Any board members, do you have any questions?
I do, Mr.
All right.
Chairman.
Yes, Ms. Heath?
I like what I've heard, and I have a concern here about the Family Resource and Support Center.
Yes, ma'am.
I know that everything will be on the school system's website, but how much beyond that, are we prepared to get the word out to those who need it the most?
Yeah, that's a lot of our parents already know about that center. I listed it as a resource to remind folks that are here. But we're going to do a intentional. As a matter of fact, we're about to do our survey to parents. Every 3 years, we intend to do a survey to find out the services that we're offering in the center are the services that are needed. And we're doing a survey when we kick school off this year to find out what services are, let them know what services are being offered, remind them what services are being offered, and to see what services that are not being offered need to be offered. And if there are any services that are being offered that are no longer needed to the extent they were before, to keep the services that we offer relevant to the needs of the community. And once we do that, that'll be part of our marketing strategy. We have some enhancements that Mr. Davis and I actually talked about during Gale that we intended to add early on pandemic, put a stop to that, and that we're going to do. But we're going to do the survey first to see if there's a need. So to answer your question, I think we do a good job of making this information available to parents, particularly those that are in need. But we're going to do a better job of making everyone in the community know about it, so that if people have an opportunity, if people want to participate, donate, or provide resources, then they'll have that opportunity to do that as well. Yes, ma'am.
Are there any other questions from board members?
I'd like to make a comment.
Okay, Mr. Youngblood.
Just want to thank members of the community for coming out tonight. It's kind of a rainy night. Appreciate you coming, but especially excited to see so many young people here tonight. Makes me feel good to know that you're here and taking an interest in what goes on at the local school board meeting. I invite you to come back again. And I know we're going in executive session, but we will come back out. I invite you to stay for that formal session. But thank you once again. Even Mr. Poole, I want to see him back. Yes.
Thank you,
Mr. Chair.
Mr. Youngblood. Reverend Bush, did you have a comment?
Yes, no, I don't have a comment. I just want to ask Mr. Dye if, and he may or may not know this answer. What the people that have kind of it's a little tick up now, and in regarding hospitalization, have those people been vaccinated, Mr. Dye?
You mean the ones that at Phoebe?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. When I spoke with the CEO of Phoebe last week, he mentioned that they have seen an uptick in cases, and that the majority of those people who have been hospitalized were not vaccinated. And if they were vaccinated, they maybe had the first dose or first 2 doses, but hadn't had a booster.
Thank you.
Are there other questions? Okay. Before we move on, I want to recognize Miss Loretta Brown. Mr. Youngblood, you mentioned we had some youth here, and Miss Brown is the coordinator, I guess you would say, of the NAACP youth group. So, Ms. Brown, we give you an opportunity at this time to introduce your group. Or if you have comments to make.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Superintendent Dyer, Chairman, Dean Tennessee. We are so honored to be here tonight, and thank you for having us. And our purpose for being here tonight, Mr. Dyer, you have a lot of students in the Dougherty County school system don't even know who you are. So I wanted my youth council members to know exactly who's serving them, who's representing them. So they are here tonight to see you all, to see who's representing them here at the school board level. And we want to say thank you. I also wanted them to see how a business meeting operates. So we have our education, we have our president here, Ms. Brianna. Stand, please. We have our assistant secretary with us. We have our education chairperson, and I want you to know he took some notes.
I'm taking notes.
And we have our other member here. And we have Christopher, who's our assistant treasurer, with us today. And most of our members are on vacation or in summer camp, but they would have been here today. And we want to thank you, and we look forward to coming back again. And we would like to see the board members go out and visit the schools so that the students would know who you are. Because when I ask them at the Boys and Girls Club, nobody knows. So please, let your students know who you are. So when they see you, they can say, well, hey, Mr. Hayes, Superintendent Dyer. Hey, Miss Heath. Hey, Mr. Youngblood. That would make them feel good just to know who you are.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Ms. Brown. Thank you all youth group for coming out and sharing with us. And we hope that you have learned something from this meeting tonight. Uh, we were visiting as a board before the pandemic, and then we started back a little bit after the pandemic. But I love to go visit the schools on a regular basis, all of them. So, and I know the other board members like to go visit too. Yes, Ms. Brown, you want to say something else?
We did. Yes, ma'am. We did. Yes. Yes, ma'am.
Right.
Thank
Okay,
that.
go
Yes,
ahead.
sir, Mr. Chair. Thank you, Ms. Brown. Thank you for coming. Thank y'all for coming. I know we had a we I think it was the spring before the pandemic, that year before the pandemic. I think that fall we had a meeting on Saturday. We were gonna make that a regular occurrence. I guess it's time to start those back up since we discontinued that during the pandemic, but we're looking forward to starting those again to get that input. We certainly appreciate it. But as we move forward, real briefly, Mr. Chair, upcoming events. I always like to keep the board informed of what we have going on. Our new teacher orientation, we'll have that July 22nd through the 27th. Our Summer Leadership Institute, which will kick off the school year unofficially with our school and district level leaders, will be August 2nd through and 3rd. Of course, the board members will be receive a formal invitation to that. DCSS tailgate kickoff. Last year was our first annual kickoff. We had Miss Hutley and Miss Poole attended. They had a great time. I encourage all of you to come. It's nothing like it. This year's going to be even better. It's backed by popular demand. But one thing that happened last year, people were talking a lot of stuff about if they had cooked their own food, it would have been better. If they had grilled, we have a lot of grill masters, so to speak, in the school system. So this year we're going to have a grill off competition for those people that are brave enough to enter. We're going to have that, and so we're going to have bragging rights and a trophy for the year. See who cooks the best ribs, the best barbecue chicken, the best sides. Now I told them they all compete for second place because I'm going to win. But,
Yeah, can board members participate?
So, but that's
But listen,
it
if you
was
want to grill, you can grill for me, okay?
No, but I can make
that was
some
that
really
was a
good
fun
red
that was a
beans.
fun way to kick off the year last year. After we had not seen each other for over a year and a half because of the pandemic.
Answer the question, Mr. Dyer.
I didn't hear the question, ma'am.
Ask him again, Miss.
I asked, can board members participate?
Oh yeah. Anyone can compete for second place if they want to compete. Anyone can do that.
Well, we'll see.
There we go. You talk a big game.
So that's we have that scheduled for August 5th. It'll be on the west campus of Albany State University. They're again making their campus available to us, and we appreciate that. So we'll be there on the 5th. I think we start at 9. We'll get you information on that a little later. But mark your calendars if you don't want to miss it. It's going to be a great time again. Of course, we also have other games and competitions.
Even Mr. Dyer can compete for second.
Okay.
And the last two things, open house for our parents will be August 11th to 12th. Then the first day of school is August 15th. And that's all I have for my report, Mr. Chairman. If there are any other questions.
Are there any questions for the superintendent?
Mr. Chair,
Yes, Ms. Hutley.
I certainly thank the superintendent for that thorough report. I just want to pause to thank those scholars and their leaders for taking the time to come to the board meeting this evening. Thank you so very much, Ms. Brown and young people. It means much to us that you care to know the who, the what, why, and where. And do come again, as our board chair has invited you. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
All right, thank you, Ms. Huntley. Uh, Board members, at this time, we will go in, if there are no other questions to the superintendent, our minds are clear. We will go in. Go ahead. Executive session.
I move that we, a second.
Second the motion.
I would probably motion second that we go into executive session. All in favor say aye.
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 All opposed? We are now in executive session. We now call our regular board meeting to order. We have a moment of silence and pledge of allegiance to our flag.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United
Of
States
the United States of America
and
and to the republic for
which
which it stands,
one
one
nation,
nation, under God,
indivisible,
indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
like I say, welcome again. Welcome to our board meeting for all of you that's here at this time. Do we have any presentation at this time, Mr. Superintendent?
Sure.
Okay. Do we have a motion to adopt the agenda, including
moved.
item 2A
Second, fool.
through 11B? I mean, through 11A, I'm sorry. 11B would be separate.
Chairman, I make a motion that we approve the agenda as amended, including item 2A and item 11B.
Including-
Second the motion, Hudley.
All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed?
Aye.
We have no opposers. Ayes have it. Consideration for the approval of the minutes from a mid-board meeting that was held on Thursday, June the 30th, 2022. Can we get a motion?
Move.
Second the motion.
Motion is second for the approval of the minutes for our mid-month board meeting held on Thursday, June 30th, 2022. All in favor say aye.
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 Those opposed? No opposed, the ayes have it. Entertain a motion for a consent agenda. Items 2 through 8 with, we have pulled 4B and added 2A. Okay.
Mr. Chair,
The millage do that, don't they? All right, 11B, the millage we do that separately. Yes. So can we get a motion?
Mr. Chair,
Yes. Ms. Hudley.
Hudley, I so move.
Second.
All right, popular movements and second. You have a question?
Wanted to, if we can clear with that one, just want to go back and make sure amend the approval of the agenda. I omitted item 4B that was taken out.
Okay. All right, thank you. All right, thank you, Mr. Youngblood. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
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 Those opposed? The ayes have it. Okay. Anything else? Oh, yes, thank you. 11B, we need the millage rate. We need to vote on that at this time.
So move.
Second.
Popular motion is second for 11B, the millage rate. Digest, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
Aye.
And then no opposes, the ayes have it. Okay, Mr. Superintendent, you have an announcement?
Yes, sir. Just want to make an introduction, saving the best for last. Miss LaShonda Flanders, if you would stand up. Dr. LaShonda Flanders, stand up. She's our new Chief Strategy Officer. She came here from by way of Turner County and Tift County School Systems. She previously served as Assistant Superintendent for Curriculum and Instruction, Teaching and Learning. And before that, she was a district curriculum coordinator, supervisor for secondary education. And so she's hit the ground running, and she's really looking forward to her contribution to the Dougherty County School System and making a difference in the lives of the students that we've been called to serve. So welcome officially, Dr. Flanders, and 3 of our board members are here, 4 are online, and I'm sure you'll meet them soon, and look forward to working with you and serving with you. Yes, ma'am. All right.
Glad you're in Dougherty County now.
Thank you, welcome. Yes, ma'am. Anything else?
That's all.
Motion to adjourn?
So move.
Second.
Proper motion second to adjourn. All in favor say aye.
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 We are now adjourned.